Welcome, everyone. This session is titled Environmental Justice and Care Work/Labor. My name is Eeva Houtbeckers. I come from University of Finland, where I work as a university researcher. And if you can raise your hand in the back if you hear me okay? Okay. And please speak up when you have comments up here and use the microphone. Right, today we have 4 excellent presentations, 12 minutes each. And like in the previous session, we will have just a bit of room for immediate questions and comments, but there should be enough space in the end to have a joint discussion as well. Right, so this is a hybrid event. There might be some delays in switching between this room and the remote access, but I think we can manage. We have an excellent technical person here. I think this is very well. So to our first presenter, Professor Stefania Barca from University of Santiago de Compostela. Yes, we have her here. Her current research interests cover the environmental impact of industry in the Anthropocene, the relationship between labor and the environment, environmental justice, degrowth, and commoning. And the presentation today is titled Earthcare as Labor. Welcome, Stefania.
Yes, thank you very much, Eeva, and many thanks to Sabaheta and Violeta for inviting me to this very interesting conference. I'm happy being able to be with you today. So, well, first of all, I wanted to start by acknowledging that a genocide is taking place right at the moment while we speak here, and sharing with you the feeling of grief and impotence that I am having, but also the wanted to share my attempt to not being overwhelmed by this impotence, and also inviting all of us to not feeling overwhelmed, and ask ourselves what is it that we can do, anything that we can do to stop this. And I think that what I am going to talk to you about in my presentation is related to what is happening in Gaza right now, because in a way, this genocide, this attempt at exterminating an entire people, goes hand in hand with the attempt and also long-term historical processes of not only of colonialism associated with global capitalism, but also the attempt at exterminating ways of life, or if you want, forms of existence, to use Marcus' concept, which I like very much, that are not consistent with the value and values of the global capitalist system. And these include ways of relating to the land and modes of production of reproduction that are not that capital does not consider as valuable or compatible with its interests. So what I'm going to talk about today is some sharing with you. I don't have a PowerPoint. I just wanted to share with you some reflections on my research over the past years on the extractive reserves that also I think Marcus was mentioning at the beginning. The extractive reserves are protected areas in Brazil that were institutionalized back in 1990, in the early 90s, as a result of struggles by a movement that called itself the Alliance of Forest Peoples. And this movement was formed of an alliance between workers in the forest workers, the rubber tappers, who were organized through a union, a rural union, and indigenous people and the indigenous movement that was also forming in those years. These struggles took place between the late 70s and throughout the 80s. So during the last years of the Brazilian dictatorship, and this is not a secondary element. This is very important to understand what was going on. And it was an extraordinary moment in which people from different walks of life converged, and not just as individuals, but as movements, as organizations, converged towards defending a way of existence, a way of life, and a mode of production and reproduction that was basically radically different, alternative, with respect to the extractivist mode of production as in the meaning of capitalist extraction, because this is also important to mention that extractive reserves also use the term extraction, but with a radically different meaning. So this, to me, this represents the concept, the very important concept of the cultural diversity within humanity. The fact that there is not one humanity as the narrative of the Anthropocene would want us believe, right? Because the whole Anthropocene concept is centered on an idea of humanity as one subject with one view, worldview, one way of relating to the earth and to each other, I would add. That is basically the Anthropocene narrative wants us believe that we are all in the same mode, whereas history tells us that this is not the case, and that there are different ways, different modes of humanity and of relating to the non-human world that have historically they have clashed, conflicted with each other, and the global capitalist system that we are all part of today is the result of these struggles, no, that have taken place historically all over the world. And the fact that what I try to highlight in my book, Forces of Reproduction, is that this struggle is not only is not over. History is not over. We still have these struggles today, and I think most all of the presentations this morning show us how people are still struggling to defend different modes of life, of existence. But not only they are not over, but these struggles are the very hope that we have to change things, because these struggles testify to the existence of forces that of resistance, if you want, or to use an expression that people in the extractive reserves have used, re-exist. The concept of re-existence that has emerged from that movement is very key to me, to signify not only the struggle to resist the expansion, the endless expansion of the capitalist mode, but also to exist in radically different alternative ways, that the struggle to defend spaces where this radically different existence can be continued, can be expressed to its highest potentialities for human development, for a human development that is not destructive, and that is respectful of both of humanity and of the non-human world. Now, what I wanted to share with you is I won't go in depth into the history of the extractive reserves, because I assume it is known to most of you. I can tell you more if you have questions. What I wanted to share is some reflection on what I learned from that story conceptually. It's some conceptualization that I attempted to do in my book, and also in a chapter of the most recent book that is Workers of the Earth, where in chapter 4 I consider the story of the reserves as an example of a subsistence labor, and how subsistence labor is significant for our understanding of the relationship between labor and the environment and non-human nature. And
just
yes,
a time note that 5 minutes left. Thanks.
Yes. And the key concept that I developed there is the concept of interspecies commoning, by which I mean a form of commoning that that includes non-human nature, that is a way of being, of identifying ourselves as radically part of nature and as co-producers of life with other species. In the case that I examine in the book, this relates to the Brazil nut forest of one particular extractive reserve. And it comes from the way that people themselves describe their relationship with this forest. And I think that interspecies commoning is also, I see it also as related to another concept that emerged from that movement, which is the concept of forestanship, florestania in Brazilian, which is a more than human way of conceptualizing citizenship. It is a concept that the movement has defended since the 90s, to make the case that living in the extractive reserve and in a non-extractivist, in non-capitalist relation with non-human nature is not something marginal, is not something to set aside from the human development that we associate with the concept of human development that we associate with Western ways of understanding citizenship. But it is part of citizenship. It is actually a more advanced understanding of citizenship, as including the rights of the forest and more broadly the rights of non-human nature as radically connected and interdependent with the rights of humans. And so all this is the exemplification of some struggles that I believe can be found in many other places in the world today. But they are not recent process. They are historical processes that it's important to understand that they come from a long history of dispossession and resistance to capitalist expansion. So I think the last minute, I just wanted to add that for me, I also conceptualize all this as a form of Earthcare, intended not simply as an ethics, no, the ethic of caring for Earth, but as a form of labor, because that's why I look at this story as from the perspective of subsistence labor, because I think it is also very important to understand labor in Western culture has been associated with capitalist development, with Western forms of citizenship, whereas I think it is very important to understand that labor is not just waged labor. There is also domestic labor and subsistence labor, and these are forms of labor that have not only had historical agency, but also ecological agency. And the history of the extractive reserves is exactly the proof of that, because it was the agency of subsistence workers what led to this new form of nature conservation, and that has preserved millions of hectares of Brazilian ecosystems, and not only in Brazil. I think this is part of a much larger story. I think my time is over, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefania, for the very inspiring talk. Is there some immediate questions or comments that you would like to get clarified at this point? If not now, let's get to them later. So next we have Violeta, Gutiérrez, Zamora, and then Khampheng, Phengsavat, to present Ecological Care Labor and Bamboo Value Chains, Cultivating Environmental Justice. And Violeta has been with the project, the Just Flow project. She's also involved, in addition to research, she's involved with some networks, for instance, the collective Feminismos o Troas. And Khampheng Phengsavat she has been since 2020 with the Bamboo and the NTPFS Development Association, and you are responsible for administration, finance, accounting, and serving as the focal point for gender issues. Welcome.
We're gonna present. First, I'm gonna present some questions about the. It's funny. Some questions about the research, and then Khampheng is going to present some of our collaborations and what they are doing in the field. So first of all, well, I already present ourselves, and I'm now working at Timnoy University, but I used to be working at Luque with Violeta at the at Violeta's project, Just Glow. And we focus quite a lot on ecological care, labor, and bamboo value chains. And this presentation, it's about how these kind of things are also cultivating environmental justice in terms of a specific case in Laos. So the project, we did it in collaboration with the BNDA, which is, you will hear a little bit more about it in Phengsavat district. And is it going?
No. This whole room is breaking down. I'm so sorry.
I can see Violeta here.
Yeah.
Good.
So
Yeah. And then we wanted to focus on how this specific context cultivate and start to build ecological care. And this kind of ecological care, we frame it in a way that is not only about the things that we see it in like kind of the mainstream ideas of what ecological care is. Can you follow? Yeah. Most of the bamboo, for instance, we wanted to see in this project how these different projects are happening currently in the world. So there's, of course, the kind of mainstream projects about bamboo, how bamboo is becoming this sustainable labeling idea of sustainability products, eco-friendly products, elite products in many of the global north economies. So this and frame at the same time as bioeconomic nature-based solutions to any of the environmental problems, but at the same time framed as caring for nature in a kind of way of that we were talking now of caring for nature for whom would be the question. And the idea of the everyday use of products, cleaning utensils, furniture and fabric, really frame in a way that that these bamboo products and value chains are becoming more and more important in for instance in Europe, where most of the market is growing. And the promises of this kind of green growth becoming more important. So one of the questions that I have during the research project is, yeah, we have that, and this is problematic, but what happens with other alternative, we would say alternative processes that are not visible? And we wanted to make visible this other work that is happening in particularly in Laos, and that sometimes doesn't take the central stage of our research and also our ideas of what bamboo sustainability is. Next, please. So we took the idea and inspiration of Stefania's Barca, but also a framework on ecological care as work and labor, but also other feminist political ecologies frameworks, and also kind of post-human researchers thinking about care, ecological care labor, not only as effectively as an embodied question of doing work, of human work, but also as an emotional and affective way of directing that work. So sometimes the idea that is not only question of that is both at the same time, and is these two dimensions. We wanted to bring it together and to analyze how and to see how this comes together into growing different alternatives. So we took the specifically we wanted to come into the idea that ecological care work is this everyday activities that are often taken for granted. There's often ideas that is not the media or even us researchers take for granted that it's happening behind the scenes, even in this conference. That sometimes these ideas of these works that might be usually not paid or unpaid or value as something that is less, that is valuable, less visible, and even in these questions of recognition, less recognized. So we wanted to build this idea of how this also kind of built these questions of hierarchy, of value and worth in different ecosystems, specifically, of course, in questions of gaining non-timber forest products into the value chains. Can you please share it like that? So we wanted to have the, of course, we did this in Laos, and I'm not gonna give you more context, but can you please? So the work that they have been doing in Laos has been really directed by different organizations that you will hear more later. But now I wanted to give the floor to Khampheng.
Thank you.
Next.
Yeah. Thank you. Hello. Maybe this is the first date for me that I see a lot of famous people. Okay. BNDA, Bamboo and NTFP Development Association. Please remember this name, and maybe it will surprise for you at the end of the presentation. Yes, and we are the CSO in Laos. In Laos, also there are many associations, but only one association that work in Hua Phan province, where I was one, and we working about bamboo and NTFP. Yes, and we ask the facilitator between stakeholder, government, private sector, and bamboo committee. Yes, and we focus on sustainability. Yeah, and this is our main work to support farmer and their village with the management their common bamboo forest and NTFP. Three components. One is forest management. Yes, and focus on definition of management plan, rule and regulation, and definition, conflict resolution, and environment, and annual bamboo and NTFP resource monitoring. Yes, and component, two component is economic and development, GRET producer group, and do and regulation, and organization of.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Can you
Come back? Yeah, sorry.
come back? Yeah. And on production and processing sale, and quality control, contract negotiation, price, quantity and pilots, and some village that they collect tax from federal value chain negotiation between actors to make value chain bamboo funds. And the last component is gender integration. We use GAUS tool or gender action learning system. for them to think about if with gender balance and how will they use that tool with their community. Yeah. Okay. And bamboo value chain. For the bamboo project, we focus on 5 value chain, and for fresh and dry bamboo. In Laos, we eat bamboo shoot, and we have fresh bamboo and dry bamboo sent to another province, another country. Yeah, and handicraft also one value chain that we supporting, and bamboo slash and stick they cut and sell to the market, and destiny market mostly is Vietnam. And for slash and stick bamboo, we have how will we say, support them to plan the divide zone by zone to cut the bamboo and use for that. Yes. And
yeah.
Okay, do you remember Bamboo and NTFP Development Association? If you need more information or you want to know what we do, you can search in the Facebook page. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. So next we have a presentation from, we switched the order, by the way, from the request of the project. So there is Phong An Huynh from GRET, so GRET Laos. And this is a presentation on development work on the ground. So expert Phong An Huynh is a rural development and common space approach expert. And he has been with GRET since 2012 in various capacities. And his work has supported the development of a groundbreaking bamboo and NTFP Development Association, which was just recently here presented. And this has expanded and applied the common space approach to different other projects. So welcome.
Next slide. So I think previous presenter already gave you some context of Lao PDR. But for us, we work in Hua Pan. The bamboo project is based in Hua Pan, which is the next slide, which is one of the poorest provinces in Laos, where most of the communities are ethnic, and they rely heavily on NTFPs and also on shifting cultivations for food and nutrition. And in the 2010s, the provincial and the districts and the private sectors and the rural communities, they start to recognize that there's a possibility of developing the bamboo value chains because of their abundance of the bamboo and also the capacity of the resources there. They start to explore the possibility of building some sort of shared governance, shared management of these bamboo forests. And underlying our work in this 12 years program that we started in 2010 was the hypothesis that if we were to support the development of the bamboo value chains that is supplied by the village forest, and that generate income for the villagers and the communities, that in turn will reduce poverty, and perhaps it will instigate their participation in the preservation of the natural forest. And our focus from the beginning is to make sure we facilitate a long-term process for more just and sustainable governance. And this involves supporting some sort of policy that help the stakeholders from the village all the way to the province to define and secure villagers' rights to their land. Supporting a local forest management organization where the villagers, they are part of managing and deciding how they want to use and sustainably develop and maintain the forest. Another aspect is the fair and equitable revenue sharing among all stakeholders in the sector. And community, and one of the critical part is to build capacity of the communities so that, but using their local knowledge and expertise, because that's a critical part, because, you know, when you're entering into a project, you're new. You don't know the same context as all the, you know, the community's members who have had hundreds of years being there, knowing their forest and what is needed. And of course, experimenting with new management and production tools. And it's very critical that in the beginning, we look at ourselves as a facilitator of this entire process. And it's the multi-stakeholders who they will eventually take the lead, and we are just playing a facilitation role. Next slide. Next one. Okay. So the idea that we support is what we call the commoning, so facilitating using the common-based approach to support the commoning. And the commoning is what we consider is a social dynamic that is developed between all the stakeholders, the rural communities, the private sector, and the government that have vested interest in making sure that their bamboo forest, which is considered a commons, is well managed, well used, and in turn sustained. And the process that we try to facilitate in this commoning is making sure that these stakeholders are involved in what we call a collective learning process, that where they learn together to see how they can develop and work together to maintain the bamboo resources. And a critical part of this commoning is facilitating collective actions, because the idea is to make sure that they are willing and they see the commonality to see why they should work together collectively. And as part of this collective action is to start defining and determining how they can develop a shared governance structure that is led from the communities, right? And then is then transferred onto more the, you know, stronger policy, national policy and provincial level. And in this shared governance, they have their own village rights rules and regulations and sanctions for how they would like to use and how to regulate the bamboo forest. And another aspect is, of course, when you're doing all of this, that they always have to have some sort of reflexive monitoring system, because this is where they have a space for them to think and to see how what works, what doesn't work, and how they can improve on this. And that's why this is what we call the collective learning process. So, next one. Okay. So the steps to reach this is in order to reach this, because in the beginning you don't have any of them. I mean, it's a long process. Is first by creating the conditions for the stakeholders to engage in this collective learning process at different scales. So to do this, and remember we are in Laos PDR, whereas, you know, one party state, is by exposing the government and also trying to get them to be aware of all potentials, the economic, social, and political potentials that they can receive by fostering the development of the bamboo in Huapan. And this led them, once they believe in this, we facilitate their development of the first bamboo and rantan task force, which is mostly government with some private sector stakeholders. And this task force in turn developed the first provincial strategy. And this provincial strategy includes aspect of starting to integrate the villagers' perspective and start to integrate ideas of how they should include the perspective and the knowledge from the village. And once this is established, then we start to facilitate initiating the collective learning process for all stakeholders, for them to develop fair rules and sustainable value chains. And what this involved is that we facilitate the government, we convince the government and support them to hold what we call the annual multi-stakeholder value chain workshops, where they invite all the stakeholders. We invite the villagers, the private sectors, and the district level and the provincial level to come together and assess what has worked, what doesn't work, and how they can improve. And then all of these conclusions are validated by the government. And inside there, these conclusions are important because it has the perspective from the villagers, because the villagers are invited and they are providing this perspective. And by providing these perspective, and it's validated in their minutes, it's a way to empower the communities to start thinking we are part of this whole entire process. Next slide. And so once you start this process, you start going, you start getting validation from the government of recognizing what the villagers' inputs and the kind of structures that could exist for them to govern their resource, their commons, is we start supporting them to adapt governance system from the village level to the district and the value chain and province level, with the idea of once the establishing this governance, like for example, forest the committees that helps to manage the forest, or the producer groups to actually manage how the value chains could be developed, what kind of income generation activities could be done from the village, right? And the idea is once that happens, is start facilitating institutions such as the village bamboo committees, such as the producer groups, these kind of village-based institutions that leads to more the district and the value chain institutions start to basically consolidate what the dynamic has started to be developed. And finally, the last part is once you were able to reach this, and remember, this takes a long time. I mean, this is a 12 years program. So by the time the fourth stage, institutionalization in the province and sharing at a national level, we are at 6 to 7 years of the program already. And how we do this is first is we recognize that there are now developed service providers that are village technicians that have been trained, they have capacity to continue our work in the village. And at the same time, we recognize that the organizations like a civil society organizations like the BNDA, they are critical for continuing our work, because our idea is, and is that in GRET, is we don't want to do the same stuff all the time. I mean, yes, it's support our own livelihood, but it means nothing to everybody else. So the idea is to really make sure we start to institutionalize the, all of our dynamics. And one of the way we did was we start trying to develop the BNDA, because there were CSO, there were members of the staff that really believe in sustaining this and supporting this sector going forward. And another aspect is once we have all of these positive results, we bring all of this, start raising awareness at the national level. And one way to do is start supporting, highlighting the impact to the national government, and one of which is our partner is the Department of Forestry within the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry. And what we highlight for them is that, hey, in this remote province, which is the home of your, Pathet Lao is Lao communism, we are able to develop this dynamics. And these are the results. And it has an economic results, it has a poverty reduction results, but it also have the first provincial strategy on anti-peace that you never have before. This is something that maybe you want to start to highlight, start to discuss, develop some sort of similar platform, but at the national level. And based on this, the national government, they recognize this and they start to say, okay, let's develop what they call the Bamboo and Rantan National Platform. And from this platform, we support their development of the first national action plan. Okay? And because of this, they now start to really believe in the effect on this. So these are just very project-based indicator achievements, so I won't go through it. Next slide. So some of the challenges, it's a 12 years program. So we recognize the first one is that we're in Laos, and there is, which as I mentioned before, there is a tendency for stakeholders to defer to the government because the government has a very strong vertical power structure. And so that means it takes time and it takes an effort, to basically break this. There is the multi-stakeholder actors, collective learning process is still new for many parts of the Laos at different levels, especially in vulnerable communities where there are, ethnic communities and women and youth, because those, just to give you some idea, in the northern area, those are very marginalized. They're not part of this process. And finally, building trust among all actors to incentivize collective action is difficult and time-consuming, because that means we have to balance between recognizing and supporting the priorities from the government to the private sectors and the communities, while empowering and valorizing the local and the local expertise, experiences, and knowledge, because you have to balance. The challenge is balancing the more powerful players compared to the communities, right? And you have to foster both. So some of the lessons learned, and for us, it's critical to remember that to motivate key stakeholders in collective action and support the conditions for collaboration and dialogue with the power imbalance that exists. So we need to maintain that. We learned that it's important to appreciate and integrate local knowledge and resources in the collective learning process and instigate their collective actions. And finally, we build the idea of building on the collective dynamics and social capital to strengthen mutual trust between all stakeholders. Because as you may know, different stakeholders, especially government, private sector, they have their certain orientations, and building that trust for them to understand that they coexist together in order to build, if they want to build sustainable bamboo, they need to do this. And finally, BNDA and the CSOs, they're very critical to be the on-the-ground workers. They're the one who would continue this dynamics. Thank you.
Thank you. The presentation is from Timnoy Salitxay from Souphanouvong University. And this is about plant science research for just rural development. And Assistant Professor Salitxay is research focuses on biohealth approach and plants' functional properties, food products development, sustainable agriculture, as well as incubation of young agripreneurs in Laos. Welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, and I have to say morning in Finland. Okay. First of all, I need to say very thankful to Violeta and Violeta and our team, Sophia and other persons who involved us and having me here. Personally, come from Laos, and maybe you guys know well about Luang Prabang. Okay, next see around in the website, and actually my presentation will be more like an introductory part, like because I have very little time, so I need to tell many things to you, and then I think you understand this point. So I will go faster in the first 25 slides, and then I will go in the focus group, the case study in the empowerment program in another one. Okay, next slide, please. So this is the overall I'm doing here with my student, like a bachelor degree student and master student. Basically, my previous major was plant science, and also I integrated to the biohealth technology approach. So we are working with the medicinal plant and its analysis for biohealth approach, like antioxidant and extracting technologies, and also and also some of our research also focus on tissue cultures based on very distinguished plants that are about to be disappear in our regions. Okay.
So yes.
Okay, I think this is so for me. Okay, it's okay. Yeah, you can go ahead then. Yeah, and recently also we've just finished our project support by ADB, like a development of the cat food product for the healthy production in Luang Prabang. Basically in Southeast Asia country, we know well about the cat. in Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and it is very healthy food, but people doesn't know how to work well with this. So in this research, we try to, make the strategies like a field survey for the cultivation approach, and also feasibility in product development, and also we come back with the product development technique with our research team for food processing, and also we try to utilize the waste of the products as a biocompost or something else, and also we analyze this, the nutritional value of the cat food and its products, and then we go back to the community with the empowerment program, like training them to have at least even not big, but a little idea about making the product in their community, and also the workshop dissemination at the end of the program. Okay, so let's see. This is some not about the research pictures, but this is based on community empowerment program. Like I went to the communities based on the 2 districts in Luang Prabang province. Is quite remote area, so we can see that by doing works with the community is something that's very interesting. But the application of the technologies to all communities is something difficult to be done. And also, next slide, please. And also, this is we come back with the dissemination and some seminar or workshop that we get involved with the people from the DAFO, like the agriculture and forestry sectors, and also student, professor, and lecturers who can share their idea. And so maybe somehow we can develop our idea for the next project. Okay. And here I would like to focus on more like I'm working now currently in a Business Incubation Center, which is the center to promote students and young researchers to get the participation in developing the products based on plant-based products. Okay. And here is what is going on. Basically, we don't have many products, but I think in my part of field, I think we can help motivation, the young researcher and around the university, they can work together and make products like using the raw material line, Sasa Inchi, bread tinctures, and citronella. So this is applicable for our university. And when the guests go to university, compulsorily, they need to see our center, even it is little. And technology, just you can say that it is appropriate technologies, not advanced technologies. Okay. And then this is some activities that you can see our researchers and our staff member and with the student who can do the intern in our center. Okay. And this is product exhibitions in university. This is the pictures for 21st anniversary just last November 2024. Okay, go on. And also in the side work, we have got support from the Bandai International from South Korea, because our center, we cooperate with South Korea, like a Ministry of Education and Science. And also we have been doing our IYA programs, which a student always said, Aya, like that. Actually, Aya is incubating young agripreneur in Luang Prabang. So okay, we have been doing by 2022 to 2025. As you know well, it is very difficult to motivate the young people to be entrepreneur, especially to get them back to the mindset of agripreneur, agribusinessman, because we don't have that much products, and most of the product is imported from other countries like Thailand, Vietnam, China, and another European country. We have many. So our inspiration in this project is we try to motivate young people, young students, that they get more involved in this process development. Okay, and we just let them do business pitchings on agriculture business, and also we support some minor funding for them so they can start incubating programs. Okay. Okay. This is some of the products developed by our students. Like this is maybe IYA 23, like they make wine product, low alcohol, and also next, and they do also another product like a milk product, chopsia milk products incubated by them. Okay, and the next one is the mincha. Mincha means they make a tea from the mint, aroma plant. Okay, and also this is the products we have from the student. And okay, next please. Next, please. I go faster. And also for 2024, also they have another innovative idea from the student, like a banana powder, and they believe that to make something new is very credible for them. So okay, go ahead. And also they make the candle, like aroma candle, and we give more opportunity to students to work themselves, and they can get consultant from another a business person, like a hotel, restaurant, and everywhere. Okay, you can go ahead. And also we support the youth from the remote area also, because education or capacity from the people in the university and remote area is different. So we optimize the capacity building in different way. Okay, this is the case of academic service we have done. And you may know the Khai plant in Luang Prabang is a fresh algae. Fresh algae is very famous and they become a very unique food menu in Luang Prabang. So here there is one communities in the Luang Prabang, now become 3, 4 already, that they do the agribusiness for the women community. Okay. And here I would like to share more about the enhancing root and tuber crop production in Laos. PDR, this is a case study for focus group discussion, because we are working under the FAO project. Okay. Actually, the project name is Enhancing Capacity of Smallholder Farmer to improve the productivities and commercialization of the root and tuber crops in northern Laos, actually. Yeah. Okay, and here is a survey site, what we have done in 2024, November, yeah. And go, okay, here is the objective actually is for us is to assess the current situation of local people. And the second one is to identify the challenge and opportunity what they have, and what we can help and support them. And also, and then we get back with the idea and the reflection of the community, and then we plan for the next process for the project. Okay. And what we do is the first introduction part. It is very important to take me to get them to make understand them for them what we are doing there, and what they have to support us for the ideas. So to emphasize the importance of their participation, and so that it will be participatory system for the project implementation. Okay, and the second, we just discuss about our current situation about tuber crops, what is important for the cultures and the communities, and what is going on like in terms of value chains and everything, and what opportunity and the structures of difficulties they have. And then we go back to the brainstorming about the way they can improve their products in their way, and what varieties they input, what we can help them, and what is the technical problems they have. Okay, and then also the value addition. The value addition is very important in Laos. If we are thinking about the project, so every community member, they ask, if I do this, who will buy from me? So this is, they don't, they cannot qualify themselves how to manage for the system. So we try to understand what they have in the raw materials, and what kind of the processing they have, basically what kind of product they would like to have in the future. So this is to identify the potential, the market, and make the value chains for them. And we get back to the intervention. If they have the kind of this project, what we can you help and support them in the feasibility way, and then we can get back to the farmer. And the conclusion after we summarize the key findings and recommendations that made by community, not made by us. And then we go back to the research team, and we summarize the idea at the end. Okay, we have more. And through this focus group analysis, we can summarize that they have also opportunity and the challenges for the community, as particularly they have also the culture aspect, like they need the root or tuber crops that have been used in their daily life as a cultures already, and they have also plentiful of the cultivation land they have, and then the government also manage for that. And also basically they have been practiced the cultivation since ancient time, and also they have still young people who can lead that cultivation activities. But anyway, they have And the key challenge they have is, okay, I have 1 minute. They have lack of varieties to ensuring the production of the tuber. Means after cultivation, and they do it like traditional way to keep the products, and they cannot sustainable about the varieties. And also the lack of the skill in terms of production and processing. And also infrastructure to access, this is a road condition to the production area is so difficult. So it costs a lot for them. And also lack of disease and pest control and in the good way, and also lack of value chains and value addition strategies of them, and also the lack of educational program to access to the community. So that concludes my presentation. If you have some more questions, it's all welcome. Thank you.